The twin suns of Korvax's prime were just beginning to set, casting a golden glow over the jungle clearing. A crowd had gathered near the ceremonial platform where the royal family of the Valari species stood in full armor. The atmosphere buzzed. With tension and fear, at the center of it all, stood Princess Valona. She was tall, fierce-looking, and wore a shining cape made from the feathers of a firehawk. But what truly drew everyone's attention was the giant beast beside her. The creature was a Korvax hound massive, covered in black and silver fur with glowing red eyes and teeth like knives. It growled at anyone who came too close. Some alien, diplomats whispered. Others stepped back. Even the royal guards kept their distance. Valona held the beast's thick metal leash. Her sharp eyes scanned the crowd. She liked the fear. It made her feel powerful, until someone stepped forward. Someone unexpected. A human. He wore simple explorer clothes, dusty boots, brown jacket, and a playful smirk on his face. His name was Jackson. Everyone turned to look. The human. What was he doing? Jackson raised one hand in greeting. "Nice pet," he said casually, looking at the massive beast as if it were a sleepy puppy. Valina narrowed her eyes. "You dare call it a pet? This is a royal Korvax hound, trained for battle and blood." But Jackson didn't flinch. He slowly stepped closer. The beast growled louder. Gasps spread through the crowd. "Stop!" Valina shouted. "It will rip you apart." But Jackson kept walking. "Nah, I don't think so," he said. "He just looks ... dirty." Dirty. Valina was stunned. No one had ever said that about her beast. No one ever dared. Jackson came close enough to touch the creature's snout. The Korvax hound bared its fangs, its breath hot and wild. Jackson slowly reached into his pocket and pulled out a tiny piece of dried meat. The beast sniffed. Everyone held their breath. Then, shockingly, the beast licked Jackson's hand. Valona gasped. The crowd gasped louder. The beast wagged its thick, whip-like tail and made a low purring sound. Valona's jaw dropped. "What did you do?" Jackson grinned. "He just needed a snack. Maybe a bath." "A bath," she said like he had. Cursed her ancestors. Jackson pointed to the matted fur, crusted with dry mud and leaves. "He's itchy, you can tell. Look at the way he keeps twitching his back leg." The beast scratched at its side, almost on cue. Valina turned Redwell. Whatever color aliens like her turn when furious, it will not touch him again. "Too late," Jackson said. "I think we're friends now." "Friends? You think a royal war beast would befriend a lowly human?" She snapped. The beast licked Jackson again, as if answering for him. Laughter broke out from a few of the younger aliens in the crowd. Valona's glare shut them up quickly. Jackson looked around. "Say you got any water tanks around here? And soap? I'm gonna give this guy the bath of his life." "You're insane," Valena whispered. But Jackson was already whistling a tune as he walked toward the supply tent, the giant beast trotting behind him like an oversized puppy. Valena stood frozen, her hands trembling. What had just happened? Her beast, a creature raised to obey only her, was following a human, a stranger. That wasn't supposed to happen. One of her guards leaned in. "Should we stop him, Princess?" Valona shook her head slowly, eyes locked on the strange human. "No," she said. "I want to see what happens next." She didn't realize it yet, but this human wasn't like the others, and neither was her beast anymore. Jackson whistled as he walked across the camp, a rope in one hand and a large, dented bucket in the other. Behind him, the monstrous Korvax hound padded along calmly. Ignoring the shocked stares of guards, nobles, and warriors, no one dared say anything, well, except Princess Valona, whose eyes were burning with rage from a distance. She stood stiffly. Behind a line of armored guards, her arms crossed tight over her chest. "He's making a fool of me," she muttered. In front of the whole council, one of her maids whispered nervously, "Princess, your beast is obeying him." It even wagged its tail. That wasn't a wag. It was tail balancing. He was testing the air. But even she didn't believe her own words. Meanwhile, Jackson knelt beside a supply barrel, filling his bucket with water from a high-pressure valve. "All right, big guy," he said, looking up at the beast. "You're gonna feel like a brand-new alien monster when I'm done." The beast grunted happily. He reached into his bag and pulled out a human shampoo bottle. "Coconut scent," he said proudly. "It's a classic." A group of alien children peeked from behind a tree, giggling. "He's washing a Gorvax," one of them whispered. "Maybe he's trying to die in a creative way," the other replied. But what happened next shocked even them. The giant beast knelt and let Jackson pour water over its fur. The water ran down its thick back, darkening the gray and black fur. Jackson worked fast, scrubbing the shoulders, legs, even behind the ears. A mountain of bubbles began to form. The beast sneezed. Bubbles flew everywhere. Some landed on a noblewoman's headdress. Screams erupted. Guards rushed forward, their weapons half raised, thinking the beast had attacked. But the sight they arrived to was something they could never forget. A wild, dangerous Gorvax hound, covered in white suds, chasing floating bubbles like a playful cub. One bubble popped on its nose. It sneezed again. Jackson laughed and rubbed its neck. "Told ya. Just needed a little self-care." The alien crowd stared like they'd gone mad. Some took photos, others just froze in disbelief. Valona was turning shades no one had names for. "That is a sacred creature," she yelled. "You're embarrassing my honor." Jackson didn't even look at her. "I'm giving your sacred creature a proper bath." "Look how relaxed he is." The beast gave a soft growl, happy, not angry. "Look," Jackson said, pointing. "He's smiling." "He is not smiling. He's baring his teeth in a weird, squinty way." Jackson gently poured more warm water over the beast's head, rinsing out the bubbles. "Relax, princess. You'll thank me later." "Never," she shouted, marching forward. Her guards blocked her. "It's too risky, princess." They pushed past them anyway and stormed straight into the clearing. "Step away from him, human," she barked. The beast suddenly stood and moved between Jackson and Valona. Its huge body blocked her path. Its glowing eyes narrowed not at Jackson, but at her. It growled at her. She froze. The beast had never done that before. "Why?" she whispered. "Why is he protecting you?" Jackson stood up slowly. "Maybe because I treated him like a friend." Valona was silent. Her lips trembled. This wasn't about a bath anymore. It was about control, status, pride. Suddenly, the head of the royal council stepped forward from the crowd, his voice calm but heavy with authority. "Princess Valona, believe it is time. We consider the bonding laws." Everyone gasped again. "The beast is no longer responding to your command," he said. "By our tradition, it may have accepted a new alpha." Elena stepped back as if slapped. "That law is ancient and flawed." "It is still a law," the elder replied. Jackson scratched his head. "Alpha, what does that mean?" Elder turned to him. "It means the beast chooses who leads it. If it chooses you, then even a royal bloodline cannot override it." Jackson looked down at the dripping, wet, freshly scrubbed Gorvax hound. Then at Valona. "Oh boy," he said, "this just got serious." The royal gardens of Gorvax Prime had never seen anything like this. A mighty Gorvax hound, feared across systems for ripping war beasts in half, was now sitting in a pool of bubble foam tails, swishing, tongue out, enjoying belly scrubs from. A laughing human Jackson worked carefully, brushing out clumps of old dirt from the creature's fur, making sure not to pull too hard. "You've got jungle vines in your tail, buddy. How long has it been since anyone washed you?" The beast gave a soft grunt and nudged him with its wet snout. Alien nobles watched in silent horror. Some had dropped their ceremonial cups. A few were recording. Others were just whispering behind fans, completely frozen. Is this blasphemy or ... brilliance? One of them asked in a hushed voice. A soap bubble floated in front of the beast's nose. Pop, it sneezed. Giant, wet, messy sneeze. And that sneeze hit Princess Valona straight in the face. She had just taken a step forward, ready to demand control of the situation again. Instead, she was now dripping with warm snot, foam, and a piece of jungle leaf stuck to her royal forehead. "Banned!" everyone gasped. Jackson blinked. Oh no. The beast let out a noise that sounded almost like a giggle. Valona stood still, too still. Then she exploded. "I am a princess. I am heir to the bloodied throne. And I smell like coconuts." The beast flinched at her. "Scream so did half the jungle. You humiliated me." She shrieked at Jackson in front of the elders, the nobles, the cameras. "And now, my beast, my family's symbol of power, is sitting in bubbles like a spoiled hatchling." Jackson looked up calmly. "He's not just sitting. He's relaxing. There's a difference. You dare speak to me like..." But before she could finish, the beast stood between them again, growling low at Valona. That was the second time, and this time the growl was louder. Valona's face twisted with disbelief. "He's protecting you, again." A heavy silence fell over the crowd. Then the High Council elder stepped forward. "Princess Valona, at Korbak's law, if a bonded beast turns its loyalty twice, it may be time to invoke the right of the Alpha Bond." Valona's heart pounded. That old law? It hadn't been used in 100 years. "I challenge it," she said quickly. "He tricked the beast. He bribed it with meat. He brainwashed it." The elder raised his chin. "Then you may invoke the challenge of rebonding." Jackson looked confused. "Is that like... Donsov?" The elder did not smile. "No. Human. It is a test. A challenge. One that proves who the beast truly obeys. If you pass, you become its alpha. And in Korbak's tradition, her equal." Jackson's brows shot up. "Equal? Like politically?" The elder's eyes twinkled. "Oh, romantically, it depends how the beast's heart and hers responds." Valona turned bright blue with embarrassment. "I will not mate with a human." She snapped. "Never asked you to," Jackson replied. The beast gave a huff that almost sounded like a sigh. The elder continued. "The challenge begins at dusk tomorrow. Until then, the beast stays with the human." "Alone? No?" Valona shouted. "Could poison it? Trick it again?" "If the bond is real," said the elder, "then tricks won't work. You must win back his heart, or lose him forever." Valona glared at Jackson. Her pride was boiling, but deep inside, something else was growing. Confusion, curiosity, even doubt. She had trained the beast since it was a cub. She had fed it, fought beside it, bled for it, and now it was listening to a man who scrubbed it with shampoo and gave it treats. As Jackson led the dripping, happy beast away, he gave her a small wave. "I'll take good care of him," he said softly. "Better than you did." Valona didn't answer. She just clenched her fists and began planning. Because tomorrow night, one of them would walk away as the alpha, and the other would have to face a truth even harder than defeat. The jungle winds howled through the night as stars blinked above Korbak's prime, in the quiet shadows of the outer camp. A strange scene was taking place, one that no alien could have imagined. Just one cycle ago, the beast, the terrifying, legendary Gorvak's hound, was curled like a sleepy puppy beside a human's campfire. Its claws rested gently in the dirt, chest slowly rising and falling. And beside it sat Jackson, poking at a small pan of sizzling meat. "Spicy or mild?" he asked the beast with a grin. The beast gave a soft growl. "Spicy it is." Jackson chuckled, tossing in a few red jungle peppers. Meanwhile, hidden in the vines above them, Princess Valona clung to a thick branch, watching everything. Her royal armor was scratched from climbing, her hair tangled with leaves, but she didn't care. She had to understand what was happening. Why was her beast so calm with this human? Why did it rest its head on his lap earlier, like it trusted him more than its own mistress? She squinted harder through the leaves. Jackson gently rubbed the beast's side. It let out a purr, deep and soft like a jungle thunder drum. It closed its glowing red eyes. Valona almost lost her grip. The beast had never purred for her, She'd raised it to be strong, ruthless, a symbol of fear. Jackson just... "You made it comfortable?" Was that the difference? Suddenly, Jackson's voice broke the quiet. "You can come down, princess. Can hear. You breathing like a trapped toad?" Valona froze, then slowly, angrily, dropped from the tree and landed in front of him. "How did you know I was there?" she snapped. Jackson smiled. "I didn't, but the beast did. His ears twitched toward you every time you moved." She looked at her beast, but it didn't even lift its head, just gave her a small glance. Almost bored, her chest tightened. "You trained him well," Jackson said. "But maybe... too well." Valona frowned. "What does that mean?" "You trained him for war, not for peace. It's for pain, not for comfort. You made him fear you." "I just made him feel safe." Valona stepped forward. "He is a beast of power. He should fear his alpha." Jackson looked up. "That's the difference." "I don't want to be his alpha, I just want to be his friend." The beast gave a lazy snort, stretching its massive limbs before flopping back down again. Valina slowly sat down on the log across from Jackson. The fire crackled between them. She didn't speak for a moment. Then quietly she said, "When he was a pup, I used to sleep beside him before the training began." Jackson nodded. "Maybe he remembers that version of you, the soft one." Valona looked down at her hands. "No one respects softness where I come from." Jackson passed her a hot meat skewer. "Sometimes that's why everyone's so angry." She didn't take it, but she didn't walk away either. "I never thought a human could bond with a Gorvax," she muttered. "Neither did I," Jackson said. "But turns out kindness is kinda universal." Valona stared at him, for the first time really looked at him. He wasn't powerful. He wasn't rich. But he wasn't afraid. That made him dangerous in a way she hadn't prepared for. And then came the words that surprised even her. "I don't hate you, Jackson," she said quietly. "But I don't understand you," Jackson smiled. "Fair. I don't understand you either, but I think your beast does." Valona glanced at the creature. It was snoring now, bubbles forming around its nostrils from leftover soap. She almost smiled. Almost, then her face hardened. "Tomorrow, during the Alpha Challenge, I won't hold back." Jackson nodded. "Wouldn't want you to." She stood, brushed the dirt from her cape, and turned away. But before she vanished into the trees, she said one last thing. "I used to dream of being chosen by something bigger than myself. My beast made me feel strong, but now it feels like he's chosen you." Jackson watched her disappear. He looked down at the sleeping hound and whispered, "No pressure, big guy. But you better not choose me for real tomorrow. I think she's starting to like me." The beast gave a soft huff and smiled. The skies of Corvax Prime had turned blood-orange by dusk. Storm clouds gathered low, heavy with pressure. The jungle was quiet, too quiet. Even the creatures had gone still as if they knew something important was about to happen. At the sacred pit of bonding, an ancient stone arena hidden deep in the jungle, the royal court had gathered. Silken banners of house colors hung from the trees. Tall torches burned green-blue flames, casting eerie shadows on the watching faces. The smell of moss, smoke, and nervous sweat hung in the air. Princess Valona stood tall at the edge of the circle, her armor polished, her face combust, her eyes burning. She looked like a warrior, but inside, she wasn't sure anymore. Across from her, Jackson stood in a plain shirt and pants, hands in his pockets. The beast, sitting loyally beside him, no armor, no weapons, just a smile that made Valona's jaw tighten. The High Elder raised his staff. Let the bond challenge begin. A heavy drum beat echoed through the trees. Valona stepped forward first. "Gorvax," she called, voice sharp and commanding. Front. The beast looked at her. For a moment, just one heartbeat, Valina believed it would obey. But it didn't move. She narrowed her eyes and changed her voice. Softer now. "Do you remember? You were just a cub when you bit my ankle. I didn't punish you," I laughed. "We slept in the same tent. I carried you when you limped." The beast tilted its head. It looked almost sad. Valena swallowed. Her chest ached. Then Jackson stepped forward, slowly. No commands, no posture, no tricks. He simply knelt. The beast turned to him instantly. "Hey, buddy," Jackson said gently. "You good?" The beast let out a soft, rumbling purr, walked straight to him. Not rushed, not fearful, but calm like home. The entire crowd gasped. Valina's knees almost buckled. The elder raised his staff. The beast has made its choice. Valina's eyes flashed. Wait. The test isn't just obedience. There's still the touch of trust. A ripple of excitement moved through the nobles. Jackson looked confused. "The what now?" The elder nodded. "She's correct. The final test is for the beast to expose its weakest point to the chosen alpha." Jackson turned to the beast. "So, buddy, if this is weird for you, just ignore me." But before he could say more, the massive creature rolled over, exposing its belly. The beast's most vulnerable part open, unafraid, complete. Eat. Trust. The jungle fell silent. Valona felt like the air had been knocked from her lungs. The elder stepped forward. "The Gorvax hound has completed all three signs: loyalty, choice, trust." He turned to Valona. "By tradition, Jackson of Terra is now its true alpha." Jackson stood slowly, brushing dirt from his knee. Valona stepped back, her heart breaking. She'd lost more than a contest. She'd lost something she once believed couldn't be taken. The beast turned toward her and whined softly. That hurt more than any insult. Jackson noticed. "Wait," he said, walking to her. "He still cares for you. He just needed something different." Valena looked up, trying not to cry. "You mean softer?" Jackson nodded. "He followed your strength. He stayed for my peace. Maybe he wants both." The elder raised his hand. "There is one path. If both alphas are accepted, a rare, ancient bond called the dual heart." Valona's eyes widened. "That's a mating bond." The crowd gasped again. Jackson's eyes widened too. "Okay, didn't see that coming." The beast gave a playful huff between them. Jackson scratched his neck. "So, princess, do I get a say?" Valona's voice trembled. "I won't be claimed like property." Jackson met her eyes. "Then don't be. Stand beside me, not beneath me." The first time in years. Valona smiled. Not for the crowd, not for the beast, just for herself. She looked at the creature. "Well, what do you say, traitor?" The beast barked happily. Asterisk, the moon of Corvax Prime rose slowly, casting silver light across the jungle. Mist rolled along the ancient stones of the arena, curling around the feet of nobles and warriors who still stood frozen, unsure whether they had witnessed a sacred bonding or the beginning of something even stranger. The beast was asleep now, stretched between two torches like a living statue. His snoring echoed like soft thunder. Jackson sat on one side, legs crossed, hands resting in his lap, calm, open. On the other side, Princess Valina stood tall, her chest rising and falling with sharp breaths. She wasn't calm. She was fire barely held in place. Anger, pride, confusion, all pulling in different directions. They had completed the bond test, and now the elder had invoked the contest of heartbeats. It was no longer about who the beast obeyed. It was about what the beast felt. The contest was ancient. It's almost forgotten. It wasn't about power. It was about presence. Whichever of the two the beast moved toward after waking, guided only by the rhythm of their heartbeat, would be named the true heart-bonded companion. Not just an alpha, but something deeper, a soul match. Valina didn't believe in soul matches until tonight. She had trained with warlords, survived bone-breaking trials, fought off assassins. She had power in her blood. But this human, this strange, kind, infuriating human, had connected with her beast in a way she never could, and that terrified her. "Close your eyes," the elder said. They did. "Slow your breathing. Let your truth be felt." Jackson's mind was still. He didn't think about victory, or power, or royalty. He only thought about the moment when the beast first nudged his hand, not out of fear, but trust. He thought about how strange this world was, and how soft Valona had looked under the moonlight when she wasn't yelling. His heartbeat slowed. Steady, peaceful V.A. Lana's mind, though, was chaos. What if he wins again? What if I'm nothing? Without the beast? What if he takes everything I've worked for without even trying? Her heartbeat raced. Too loud, too sharp. She tried to calm down, but her chest felt tight, then suddenly dash. She remembered something. Not training, not war, but the night the beast had fallen sick as a cub. When she stayed up all night beside him, feeding him broth drop by drop, when he had whimpered in her arms, and how, back then, she had hummed softly to him. Without thinking, she began to hum again, a soft, broken tune from her childhood, and her heartbeat followed. Slower, gentler, the beast stirred, its ears twitched. The crowd stopped breathing. The elder whispered, "Let the beast choose." Valona opened her eyes. Jackson did too. The beast stood. It sniffed the air. One step, then two. Everyone leaned forward. It turned toward Jackson but stopped. Its eyes shifted. Its nose twitched again, and then it walked past Jackson, past Valona, right between them. Then with a low groan, it sat down. Its tail touched Jackson's foot. Its head rested against. Valona's legs split evenly. Jackson raised an eyebrow. Is this a tie?" The elder looked stunned. It has never happened before." The beast licked both their hands once each, and then closed its eyes. The crowd erupted into gasps and whispers. Valona looked at Jackson, her voice low. "We're both chosen?" Jackson shrugged. "Guess we share custody." For the first time, Valona laughed. Not out of mockery, not out of pride, but pure surprise. The elder stepped forward. "In rare legends, this means the beast sees no master-only partners. Equals, a bond not of ownership, but of unity." He looked between them. "If you both accept, the title of Sal-bonded guardians will be yours." Jackson blinked. "That sounds very dramatic." Valona smirked. "You have no idea." They both looked at the beast snoring now between them like a giant baby. Jackson spoke softly. "So, we're guardians now." Valona nodded slowly. Together, for the first time, she didn't feel like she'd lost something. She felt like she'd gained something far stranger, and maybe more powerful. Dawn crept slowly over the treetops of Corvax Prime, painting the sky in soft oranges and deep purples. The jungle was alive again. Birds screeched, mist danced across the leaves, and light fell upon the old stone arena where everything had changed the night before. Valina sat on a fallen log, still in her ceremonial armor, but her cape now rested beside her forgotten. Her boots were muddy, her braids were messy, but she didn't care. She wasn't thinking about titles or traditions or the shame of losing. She was watching something that made her feel ... different. Jackson lay beside the great beast, fast asleep, one hand resting on its warm belly. The Gorvax hound snored like a growling engine, but its body curled protectively around the human. One giant paw was draped over Jackson's chest like a blanket. Valina had never seen anything so ridiculous or so peaceful. She shook her head and muttered to herself, "That foolish man, how does he do it?" A soft voice spoke behind her. "He does not try to win. He simply shows his heart." It was the High Elder. Valona looked up, startled. "I should be angry." I was angry. But now, she looked back at Jackson. "I don't know." The elder smiled. "Then perhaps, you are growing." Valona stood and slowly walked over to the sleeping pair. The beast opened one eye lazily, huffed, then let her approach without protest. She sat down beside Jackson and poked his arm with a stick. He groaned. "Ugh, 5 more minutes." She poked him again harder. "I swear, if this is another." "Tree snake, I'm moving back to Earth," he mumbled, eyes still closed. "It's me," she said flatly. "Oh, that's worse." Jackson opened one eye and gave her a sleepy grin. "Good morning, Your Furious Highness." She crossed her arms. "I'm not furious anymore. Suspicious, cautious, secretly plotting." She gave him a half smile. Maybe all three. Jackson sat up slowly, stretching. So, what happens now? We ride off into the sunset on the beast's back? Open a pet spa? Valona raised an eyebrow. We are now the Sal-bonded guardians of the Royal Gorvax Hound. We'll have responsibilities, appearances, galactic meetings. Jackson groaned. So no pet spa? She smirked. Not unless you wash the entire council too. He laughed, then paused. I know we're from different worlds, literally, but I've never felt anything like this. Not just with your beast, but with you. She looked at him, really looked. It's the human who had turned her entire world upside down, not with strength, but with calmness, kindness, and just a bit of mischief. You made me question everything, she said softly. And I hate you for that. Jackson tilted his head. Thanks. But, she continued, I think I needed someone to challenge me in a way even battle couldn't. There was a long pause. The beast, sensing the emotion, whined gently and nudged their hands together. Jackson smiled. So, do we hold hands now? Or is that punishable by death on your planet? Valona chuckled, then slowly took his hand. Just don't tell the council. Too late, said a voice nearby. Dozens of nobles stood at the arena edge, some hiding smiles, others covering their shocked faces. Great Valona muttered, now we'll be in stories. Jackson squeezed her hand. We are a story. The beast barked loudly, as if to say, finally, epilogue weeks later. The story of the human and the princess spread across star systems. Songs were sung. A children's book was released with slightly less bubble bath. And on Corvax Prime, the Royal Gorvax Hound stood proud, clean, and against all odds happy. Sometimes power doesn't come from strength. Sometimes it comes from the courage to be soft. In a world that never taught you how, and sometimes love begins with a bar of soap, a human's stupid grin, and a beast who simply wanted to be seen.